Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of ancient Egypt. We've all heard the stories, seen the pyramids, and admired the mummies. But did you know that ancient Egypt was full of bizarre, mind-blowing facts that seem like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie? Buckle up because we're about to uncover 8 crazy ancient Egyptian facts that you've probably never heard before. Let's get started. 8 crazy ancient Egyptian facts. Ancient Egypt is one of the most enigmatic and awe-inspiring civilizations to ever exist. Stretching over 3,000 years, Egypt's rich history is filled with legends, innovations, and mysteries. While most of us are familiar with the famous pyramids and pharaohs, there are many aspects of this ancient culture that continue to surprise historians and archaeologists alike. From the way Egyptians interacted with their gods to their bizarre medical practices, let's take a look at 8 crazy ancient Egyptian facts that will completely blow your mind. 1. Egyptians believed cats were divine beings. If you've ever wondered why cats are so revered on the internet today, just imagine what it was like thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt. Cats were not just loved, they were considered sacred and were believed to be the earthly incarnations of the goddess Batet. Batet was the goddess of home, fertility, and protector of women, and she had the head of a lioness or domestic cat. Egyptians saw cats as both fierce protectors and symbols of grace, so much so that they worshipped them in temples and treated them as deities. Killing a cat, even by accident, was a serious crime that could lead to the death penalty. Families would also have their cats embalmed and mummified to ensure their souls would be safe in the afterlife. Cats were so highly regarded that if you owned one, it was a status symbol. Cats were even depicted in Egyptian artwork. 2. Ancient Egyptians were obsessed with the afterlife. The Egyptians' belief in the afterlife was incredibly elaborate, and they spared no expense preparing for it. They believed that the soul would embark on a journey after death, and the journey would be perilous and full of trials. That's why the Egyptians created the Book of the Dead, a guidebook filled with spells to help the deceased navigate the dangers of the afterlife. Moreover, the burial rituals were incredibly complex. Pharaohs were often entombed in vast, extravagant pyramids filled with treasures and food, ensuring they would have everything they needed for the afterlife. But the crazy part? Egyptians believed that the body had to be perfectly preserved for the soul to have a place to return to. This is where mummification came into play. 3. Mummification was more than just preserving the body. When we think of mummification, we probably envision the famous process of removing organs and wrapping the body in bandages. But ancient Egyptians had some pretty wild techniques to ensure that mummies would remain intact for eternity. Mummification took up to 70 days to complete, and it was a sacred ritual. The organs, except the heart, were carefully removed and preserved separately, as Egyptians believed the heart was the seat of the soul. The body was then dried using natron, a natural salt, to remove moisture. But here's the wild part: after the body was dried, the brain was often discarded through the nostrils using a hook, because the Egyptians didn't believe it was important for the afterlife. One of the most bizarre mummification techniques was the use of resin to seal the body. Resin would harden over the body, making it almost impossible to open without destroying the mummified remains. In fact, modern scientists have sometimes used advanced technology to examine mummies without damaging them. 4. They invented the 365-day calendar. When it comes to calendars, the Egyptians were ahead of their time. They were one of the first civilizations to create a calendar based on the solar year. The Egyptians noticed that the annual flooding of the Nile River occurred at roughly the same time every year, which was tied to the rising of the star Sirius. This phenomenon helped them create a calendar system that had 12 months with 30 days each, plus 5 additional days at the end of the year to make up 365 days. This was a huge breakthrough in astronomy and laid the groundwork for the modern calendar system we use today. They even named these additional days epagomenal days and celebrated them with festivals to honor the gods. 5. The Great Pyramid was the tallest structure for over 3,800 years. While today, skyscrapers and tall buildings dominate our cities, the Great Pyramid of Giza reigned supreme for over 3,800 years as the tallest man-made structure on Earth. Built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, around 2580 BC, this pyramid originally stood at 481 feet, 146 meters, tall. It's made up of over 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing several tons, and it's estimated that it took around 20 years to complete. Even though taller structures now exist, the Great Pyramid remains a wonder of the world due to its immense size, precision, and the mystery of how it was constructed without the technology we have today. 6. The Egyptians had a strange sense of humor. We often think of ancient Egypt as a serious, mystic civilization, but the Egyptians had a quirky side as well. Evidence suggests that they had a good sense of humor, especially when it came to everyday life. For example, many ancient Egyptian tombs featured comedic scenes and caricatures that depict people in humorous situations, often poking fun at their own society or the afterlife. Additionally, ancient Egyptians were known to enjoy riddles and jokes. Some of the earliest recorded jokes come from Egypt, and they even had a kind of comedy club atmosphere at some of their social gatherings where people would tell stories and jokes to entertain each other. 7. The Egyptians practiced tooth whitening. Believe it or not, the ancient Egyptians were also into dental hygiene. They were obsessed with having clean, white teeth, and they developed some bizarre methods for keeping their teeth shiny and healthy. The Egyptians created toothpaste from a mixture of ground pumice, salt, and herbs. Some formulas also included powdered ash and even crushed eggshells. But here's the wild part, ancient Egyptians also used a form of rudimentary tooth whitening by rubbing their teeth with a substance made from powdered pumice stone. They were far ahead of their time when it came to maintaining a beautiful smile, and some of their techniques actually worked. In fact, the Egyptians' focus on dental care was so intense that archaeologists have found evidence of ancient dental tools like forceps and drills. 8. Ancient Egyptians could be paid in beer. In ancient Egypt, beer wasn't just a drink, it was also a form of payment. Workers who were building the pyramids or involved in other large-scale construction projects were sometimes paid in beer. In fact, beer was a staple of the Egyptian diet, and it was consumed by people from all walks of life. It was made from barley and wheat, and it was thick, almost like porridge, and often flavored with herbs. Beer was also seen as a gift from the gods, particularly Osiris, the god of the afterlife. It was offered in religious ceremonies, and the Egyptians believed that drinking beer could help to keep their spirits happy. Well, there you have it, 8 crazy ancient Egyptian facts that will totally change the way you look at this ancient civilization. From their unique burial rituals to their divine love for cats, Egypt was filled with some pretty wild customs and ideas. Let me know in the comments which fact blew your mind the most. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more amazing content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.